ladies and gentlemen. This is a Skill 3386, but it's not like any 3386 you ever seen before. The reason why I designated it 1.3 is this one. We went and took this, we'll call it a 300 watt single phase capacitor motor, and we got rid of it, and we went DC drive on this one, a 1.3 horsepower at 95 volts DC Treadmill motor, very common in treadmills. Let's swing around here and see if we can get you a look. This is a standard treadmill motor. We're running it off of a controller. This one is a KBMM. It's an older one, a 118. There's not a lot of supporting paperwork on it, but it's pretty much good enough for about a horse and a half, if I'm not mistaken. I got external cooling as well blowing on this right now. I'm in the process of making an enclosure as well. I used a very simple potentiometer. There was 3 legs, but there is a tab here that says P3. I chose not to use it because it would be very dangerous in this situation. The speed would just be ridiculous, and if anything were to happen, I'd probably lose a finger or something like that, and I ain't trying to do that. But anyways, I took the regular motor off. I found the center of the backing plate from the original motor. I punched the center plate out to 2 inches, and then the motor was able to fit on there. Well, that wasn't the end of my worries. I had to cut part of the casting and all that good stuff out, and that got kind of ugly, which brings me around to the front here. Okay, what had ended up happening was there was a fairly sizable hole here to make this happen. I changed the pulley diameter, and I custom made another pulley from some 6061 aluminum. It wasn't very difficult, but I still had the problem of a big hole there, and I'm worried about dust getting sucked through the DC motor and all that. So I took some plastic from some milk crates, or not crates, excuse me, milk carton, and made a couple of templates and screwed those up. So I made a couple of templates from those templates and finally got some stuff that fit very well. And basically I got 2 pieces that are sandwiched on either side of a floater piece, if you can imagine that. So basically at any one time, dust has got to go through 3 layers before it gets to the 4th layer. There is a 4th layer on the motor that runs very, very tight to the motor shaft, and we'll see if that's a good or a bad idea over the long run, but so far it hasn't presented any problems. I did have to do some monkeying around with the pitch of the blade because this thing is very, very sketch as far as the adjustment. It loves perfection, so you got to be right in its sweet zone, otherwise it'll toss the blades off, and once it tosses the blade off, it's kind of a pain in the ass to set it back up, but you get it down to 5 minutes after a period of time. Make sure all your guides are to where they're supposed to be. Basically, when I got this thing, the guides were so out of whack, it was basically trying to push the blade off of the wheel in the first place, and that was no good. So after readjusting the carbide pieces on both the top and the bottom side, I got it to behave. Also had to mess with the pitch wheel on the back side of it. It was an impossibility to use very, very thin wheel or blades, the 1/8 inch ones. It just wanted to spit those off immediately. It will run these 3/8 wides one with some pretty good success, I would say. But enough of me yapping about this thing. You guys want to see this thing run. This is a 1.3 horsepower versus the equivalent of, they say it's a quarter horsepower. I'm not buying it by one bit, but that's what they're saying theirs is, or close to it. And well, this one is nothing like that. I'll go ahead and close the door for my safety, just because I don't want to get bit and make good YouTubing, but probably not too good for me. I retained the factory light and all that good stuff, which is cool. We're going to go ahead and start up another camera so we get another angle at this too at the same time. Well, we're back at it here, and let's go ahead and fire this beast up. Now, this does have a soft start to it, so it kind of ramps up kind of slow, but that's fine, you know, once it's up to speed, it ain't slowing down after that. Now, this is set to the mid-range. I would say it's very, very similar to where the speed was when the saw was originally untouched. I can't verify that right now at this time, but by ear it sounds very similar. This already sounds like it's got more cojones than the other one, and let's try a couple of pieces of wood, although I've already made plenty of pieces of cut, but you guys just want to hear this, I'm sure. I mean, this a little bit greater than 1/8 inch stuff. I don't know if I call it 3/16 maybe in one section of it, but it's tough. I don't know exactly what this wood is. I don't know if it's ash or something to that effect, but it's relatively hardwood. This right here is a piece of construction fir. That was on the 3/8 of an inch side. Let's try some at about 1/2 inch here. And I mean, I am not letting up on it. I mean, it's bordering on brutality for this saw. You got plywood you want to cut? Now this isn't just plywood, this is hardened plywood from being outside and stuff, and it's a mess. But I don't know, this is the 15-30 seconds, I guess, 1/2 inch. And here we go, we got some relatively soft stuff here. This is the cedar for my fence plank. Before the conversion, it would not even cut this piece. Now, we got a little bit of slow down there because I was a little, you know, I'm pushing on this thing. Let's give it a more moderate speed here of feed. I guarantee you this is the baddest 9-inch saw out there. If you got a badder one, I would love to see it. I'm not trying to pat myself on the back here, but this outperforms any little saw I think I've seen. Now I deal with wood or meat cutting saws all the time, and they're you know made to perform, but I mean this is ridiculous. Just to show you guys what I did do, this is we'll call it a 2x4 section. That's 2 by 2 by 2, but it's not really 2 by 2 by 2. It's 1.5 inches by 1.5 inches or whatever. And it did whack through this. Now, I'm not going to say it was pretty, and it took a while to get through it. Probably because I got the wrong pitch blade for trying to do something this big. This one's relatively aggressive. It's one of the Bosch blades that came directly out of the pack that I got from the big box store. Just ridiculous. Now this is a piece of oak, and we're going to try and cut this video short because I don't want to make it too long. But here's a piece of oak. We're not going to go too deep on it, but that's oak. And I mean, this is no slouch. It's a full, oh geez, it's got to be 3/4 of an inch, and it didn't burn it. I mean, maybe a little bit at the beginning of the cut, but it did quite well actually. I wouldn't subject that to the other skill saws out there, but this one is working like a champ, and I can attach some drawings and stuff like that. If anybody's interested in doing the same thing to theirs, I'm into it. As it sits, probably less than $150 for the conversion. I got the saw on clearance for I think it was right around $100. So for $200, I mean, you could probably get a bigger saw, but this one is pretty cool for hobby use if you're doing thin stuff. If you're doing really thick stuff, obviously you should step up to the next size. But you know, this one, for what I'm going to be doing, it probably will cut just about anything I ever want it to. As always, thanks.